This video is in some ways a follow-up to the one that I asked you to watch a couple of weeks ago. Now, I guess it was last week actually, on the idea of systemic evil. And it deals with the question of agency. This is a pretty important concept when you're talking about ideas like systemic evil. If you look at the word agency, what you should see is that it has as its root word the word agent. To be an agent is to do something or to make something happen. So when we talk about agency, we're talking about the capacity of humans to make choices and to do things. This is one of the things that a lot of philosophers and thinkers would say sets humans apart as being different from other types of living species. That we're able to think through the ramifications of our actions and to do things in ways that are meaningful. Now, you might be thinking, well, I have all kinds of choices. Anything that I choose to do is my choice. And I want to suggest to you that there's a lot more going on behind some of the choices that we make, particularly the ones that are related to this idea that we're talking about of systemic evil. All of us as individuals, and I've drawn here for you a very bad little stick figure. It's hard to draw on this screen with my mouse, although if you've been in a face-to-face class with me, you know that I can't really do much better on a real blackboard either. But in any case, I've drawn for you a little stick figure. This can be you. And you make choices, but you make them within systems. You make them within a religious system. You make them within a political system. You make them within a family structure. And this list could go on and on and on. And I want to suggest to you, or at least to point out that some thinkers would suggest, that our choices are often constrained by these things. They're limited. Sometimes we don't even really get to make the choices. Let's think about politics. How much choice does a person living in the United States have in their choice of political ideas? We would like to think that they have complete freedom. That's one of the American values, right? So you can choose to be a Republican. This is the little Republican elephant up here. You can choose to be a Democrat. Get the little Democrat donkey there. If you want to go a little bit outside of the mainstream, you could even choose to be a libertarian. No one, though, I think, would suggest that you could choose to have a baron. It's just not a part of our political system. We can't choose to have a king. That just doesn't even cross our minds, I think, when we ask this question: how much choice does a person living in the U.S. have in their political ideas? We work within a particular political system where one of the basic assumptions, one of the presuppositions, the things that we assume, is that we choose our leaders through a democratic process. We can choose Republicans, we can choose Democrats, we can choose libertarians or Tea Parties. We could even choose socialist or communist leaders, but we have a basic structure that all of this happens through. We might say in this case that the individual has limited agency. We do have some choices available to us, but I think that you can see, at least in the political realm, there are a lot of political ideas that just really aren't available to us in the United States. So think about this when you're reading Eichmann in Jerusalem by Hannah Arendt. One of the questions that Arendt is going to ask is, to what extent does Eichmann have agency? Should we hold him individually responsible for the horrors that we see in the Holocaust? Or do we accept the argument that he really doesn't have the capacity to choose not to participate? Is it possible that the constraints are so powerful from the Nazi government that it would really be unthinkable for an individual to act counter to what the Nazi state required? This is going to be a tremendously important question for Arendt. I think it will be a tremendously important question for us as we think through this idea of systemic evil.